Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Esther Para. If this is the first time you are joining us, you are highly welcome. So in today's video, we are going to be cutting and sewing a kimono jacket, a short kimono jacket. So this is going to be a quick one. So the first thing I want to do is to fold my fabric. I folded it already into 4 folds. You see it, we want to cut both front and back. We want to cut them together. So I drew a line here. This is going to be our starting point and it's going to serve as our shoulder line. So on this shoulder line, I'm going to mark half of my shoulder. So half of my shoulder is 6.75. I'm going to mark it. Then I'm going to add ½ inch ease on my shoulder because this is a free jacket, so I don't need the shoulder to be so tight. The next thing I'm going to do is to impute my chest line. My chest line is my bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, and my bust is 35 divided by 6 plus 1.5 will give me 7.25. Just add 1 again to it, so I'm going to get 8.25. so I'm going to mark 8.25 across like so. So I'll draw it across. So what I want to do next is to mark my half length. My half length is 18 inches. So I'm going to mark 18 inches. And I'll mark it across. Then I'm going to mark my hip line. My hip line is 8 inches from my half length, so I'm going to mark it too. So I've marked all these lines. The next thing I want to do is to the same shoulder measurement that I put here, I'm going to put it here too. I'll put it on my chest line. The same shoulder measurement, I'm going to also put it on my chest line, and I'll draw it across. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my neck width. So I'm going to use a neck width of 3.5. The width is going to be 3.5. Then the back width is going to be 1 inch. Then the front depth is going to be 3, while the back depth is going to be 1. So I'm going to connect these lines. Okay, then I'm going to drop my shoulder. The front shoulder, I usually drop my shoulder slope with 1.5 for the front. Then for the back, I'm going to drop it by 1. If you have watched my basic bodies pattern, you will understand what I'm doing. Then for the back, let me slant the shoulder for the back too. Okay, so that is done. I've slanted the shoulder. So the next thing I want to do is to curve my armhole. So to curve my armhole, I'm going to shear what I have here. I'm going to shear it into 2. Then I'll come in by ½ inch. So I'm going to use the same armhole for the back and the front. I'm supposed to have separate armhole, but I don't want it to be very fitted at the front, so I'm just going to use the same armhole for the back and the front. Okay, that is done. So the next thing I want to do is to impute my bust measurement. My bust is 35 inches. 35 divided by 2. I'll divide it by 2 first. I'll get 17.5. So I will add 2 inches of ease. That will give me 19.5. So then the 19.5, I will divide it again by 2. And that will give me 9.75. So I'm going to mark 9.75 on this chest line, on my chest line. And I'm going to add 1 inch ease to it. Then on my waistline, what I'm going to do is my waist is waist 30. So waist 30 divided by 2 will give me 15. So I'm going to add 2 inches of ease. 1 2, that's 17. So 17 divided by 2 again is going to give me 8.5. So I'm going to mark 8.5 here, and I'm going to add 1 inch allowance. Then my hip measurement, my hip is 40 divided by 2 will give me 10. I don't want to add ease to my hip, so I'm just going to mark it like so. Then the same thing that I have here, I'm going to put it on the hemline. I'm going to put it on the hemline. The same thing that I have on the hip line, I'm going to put it on the hemline. So the length of this my jacket is 34 inches, and I added 1 inch seam allowance. So you see it. So that is it. That is it for that. So I'm going to connect all my lines. Okay, so that is done. So let's take care of the allowances. Before we cut, we are going to add allowances on the shoulder slope, on the armhole, and on the neckline. So let's add allowance for the back first, because we are going to cut out the back first. So let's add allowance. I'm going to add ½ inch on the neckline for the allowance. I'm just going to add a ½ inch round. And on the shoulder slope, this is the back shoulder slope, I'm going to add ½ inch. Okay, so I'm going to add ½ inch too on the armhole. Okay, so that is done. I'll just cut it out. I've already added my allowance here, so I'll just cut it out. I'm going to cut only one the back part. When I cut the back, I'll remove the one inside. They will now take care of the front. So let's cut the back. Cut it out now. So I'm going to remove the inner one. The inner one will serve as the back, so I'm going to remove. Let's shape this one now. Let's add the ½ inch allowance for the neckline and for the armhole. So I didn't want to add it at first so that we don't get confused. So now we can add it, because we have already drew our neckline. So I'm just adding the ½ inch allowance to the neckline of the front. You know, this is the front. We have removed the back. Then for the shoulder slant too, you know, this shoulder slant is brought down by 1.5. So we are going to add ½ inch allowance. So now I can cut the front neckline out. So let's cut the front neckline. Okay, so let me cut the shoulder slant. Okay, so this is the shoulder slant. So we are done for the front, but we are going, since it's a kimono, we are going to open this part. But this is what we are going to do. So from here, from this neck, I'm going to mark 7 inches. 7 inches. Then I'll just make a curve. See what I'm doing, like a V, to meet that 7 inches. You see it? After marking this place, all you need to do is to cut it. I've already cut it out, but the camera didn't capture it, so I've already cut it out. I just cut where I marked, that place I marked. I've cut it out. This is it, and I opened the center front into two. You see it? So the center front is now two piece. You see it? I cut out that place that I marked, that place I said we should mark. I cut it out, then I just opened the remaining part of the center front. You see it? So the next thing we're going to do is to bring the back pattern, is to bring the back bodies. They will join by the shoulder. Okay guys, I've held it by the shoulder. You see it? So the next thing I'll do is to take the measurements from this front, the down part of this front. I'll take it round. I'll go through the back neckline, then I'll come back again through the front. You see it? I'll just take it round. I'll take the measurements so that we can cut that design we want to put at the front. So I'm going to measure it now. 79. So that's 79. I'm going to get the fabric I want to use, the fabric that I want to use for that design at the front. So I'm going to put it on fold, and I'm going to mark 2 inches. I'm going to mark 2 inches so that by the time I sew with ½ inch, it is going to remain 1.5 inch. So you are going to cut out 2. The width is going to be 2, then the length is going to be the 79 plus like maybe 1 inch for folding. So you are going to cut 2 inches. So let me cut mine, then I'll show you fabric we want to use for the neckline. So the width is 2 inches, the width is 2 inches, and the length is what we measured round. So we'll start sewing it now. We'll start sewing from this front. We'll pick the front. This is one of the front. We'll start sewing like this. We'll place it like this. We'll start sewing. So we'll sew it round. After we finish sewing it round, then we'll top stitch. We'll push it inside, then we'll top stitch round. So let me go and do that. Okay guys, so this is the look after fixing this collar. You can see it. I fixed it round, then I top stitch. You can see how beautiful it's looking. So the next thing we want to do now is to turn it to the wrong side. Then we put in our measurements. We put in our measurement, the measurement you use in drafting it. So you just shape it to your measurement. Shape it to your measurement. After shaping it to your measurement, then you bring your sleeve. I have a basic sleeve tutorial on my channel. I didn't want to make this video very long, so I drafted it off camera. So I have a link. I'll drop it in the description box if you don't know how to draft a basic sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and fix my sleeve now. I'll fix my sleeve, then we are done with this tutorial. Oh guys, look at it. Look at our kimono. Looking so beautiful. It's so easy. A beginner can make this. You can try it out. It's so easy. So if you have found value in this tutorial, please like the video, drop us a comment, share the video. Thank you so much for always stopping by. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please join the family. Click on the subscribe button. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.